Yesterday we discussed on the tokenization. So tokenization process. Basically what is tokenization? Tokenization is pre-matching. So something that is done before you start the actual matching. That's tokenization. And technically tokenization is a process where tokens will be generated for every record. Not for every record, but for every new record. Okay, not for uh, older records. For example, let's say you have 10 million records and they are already having consolidation indicator 1. It means that the match and merge, tokenization, match, merge for these records was done long time back. So that tokens will be stored in strp table, and it is a permanent table. So it's not like a landing staging table. This table will contain the history, okay, like an archive table, right? So tokens will only be generated for the new records, and we have different options that will influence the tokens, less or more. We can do that. We can do the tokenization on the address, person name, or organization name. So we can do it on any of these three, not both. You can't do it on both, but since it's a list of value, you select only one option, right? That's what is the concept of the tokenization. And yesterday I also explained on how this matching sheet, that is this thing is calculated. This is called as a match rule. Match rule is nothing but it's a group of match columns and group of match columns. So I explained that it's calculated as a result of data profiling, plus you need to take records from the source system, same record, same customer record, and see the common fields, and then you need to calculate this, you need to list down this column names, okay, and then based on that you have to create the rules. So life is much easy if you have unique identifiers. So if you have a unique identifier, then things will be much easier, right? But normally there won't be much unique identifiers. I mean, it might be there, but it is very difficult to find a unique identifier that is there in all source systems. Unique identifier will be there, but that will be there only in one or two source system. For other systems, there will be a different identifier like that. So anyway, you need to create a rule, and typically it would look something like this. So you will see now this 15 is actually a very high number. Normally you will not have 15 rules. You should have 7-8 rules. 7-8 is actually enough. You don't need to create more than 7-8, right? And do you think the order of the rule is important? That is what happens if I put the fourth rule in the first. If I swap 1 and 4, what is the problem? The problem is performance. The thing is the best rule should be in the top, then the second best rule, then third best, fourth best. Because I want that, I want this guy to catch the maximum matches. And if it is missing something, I want this one to catch. Then this, then this. So it means that this last rule will only result in, let's say, 1% match. But this might result in this will catch at least 80% of the records. Now this one less, like that. So if I swap it, what will happen? So the first rule will catch 1% match. Then the remaining 99% have to go through all these rules. That will cause performance issues unnecessarily. Okay, so order is important, and we are seeing something called as fuzzy. The word fuzzy is related to identical. So fuzzy, identical, probabilistic, all are the same, all same things. Okay, so fuzzy comes into play when you have something like this. You have Sunil, Mohanty, you have Mohanty, Sunil, you have Sunil, K, Mohanty. You see variation in the pattern. Now that's called as fuzzy or similar, or in SAP MDM it is called as probabilistic match. Okay, probabilistic kind of match, right? So first let's check these match columns. So I have identified using data profiling and all the other things that these are my match columns, and my first, the address name, is the fuzzy match key that is used only for tokenization. So I've written this clearly, only used to create the match pair. Although this can also be used for matching, this can be used, no problem, but main purpose is tokenization, right? Then I have fuzzy match columns and exact match columns. First of all, let's break it down into two things. I have something called as a match key. I have something called as a match column. When I say match key, it's always fuzzy match key. There is no exact match key. But when I say match column, there can be a fuzzy match column and there can be an exact match column, right? So name, first name, they are fuzzy. Why? Why name should be fuzzy? Or why first name should be fuzzy? Because you will see definitely there will be variation in pattern. So these two and this, they are, I want to identify these records, so I must use probabilistic matching, right? So for these two, I'll use probabilistic matching. Now, why I'm going for exact matching for date of birth, gender, phone number? Shouldn't I mean, why shouldn't I go for fuzzy matching for, let's say, phone number? What's the problem with using fuzzy matching for phone number? So let's see the problem. The problem is, let's say, this is my number. Actually, this is my number. You can note it down also. So if you have anything, you can call me. Okay, this is not my number. But see, let's say that I would like to match, let's say if I use fuzzy matching for phone number, right? So if I use fuzzy matching for phone number, what might happen is, since these two are identical, aren't they identical? Now as phone numbers, they are not identical. But if I tell you that they are just a piece of string, I mean just a piece of string, then if I take the poll, that is it identical? Yes, this is identical. These two are. So the result might be a match. And you know what is the problem? That these are different phone numbers, because variation doesn't mean they are same in phone number, but variation in name could mean they are same, but not in here. Similarly, I have telephone, like email ID. These two are similar, right? If you see them as a text or as a string message, they are similar. But if you see them as email ID, they are different. So it's not proper to use fuzzy matching for certain fields. So only for, you will see only for the name and address we'll use fuzzy matching. But for anything else, we'll go for exact. Okay. Now it doesn't mean that you can't use fuzzy matching for telephone number. You can, but the style will be different. Now let's not talk about that now. As of now, just assume that for telephone number, it's exact matching. We'll see the fuzzy style later. So that's the reason why we have date of birth, exact match, gender, all these things as exact match. All right. Now, first thing, one thing should be clear, that we are trying to configure the matching for party table. Is it clear? See, If I go here and technically check it, then you will see that for every base object, see, for every base object I have this match and merge setup. If I go and check here, then I have match and merge setup. For every base object I have match and merge setup. It means that match and merge is something that should be and must be, it's not should, it must be configured on a base object level, which again, which means that if you're configuring matching for party, if you're configuring matching for party, so will this automatically be configured address because it's the child? No, it won't be automatically configured. You need to configure the match and merge for party separately, address separately, contact separately. Now that means that that's a big pain, because configuring match and merge in everywhere, that's a headache. So is it a headache? No. Why? Because the match and merge property for the parent will be complicated. Complicated in the sense, something like this. Something complicated like this. But for the child table, it will be very, very simple. For child table, it will be exact matching. So something like this. For child tables, it will just be exact matching based on party ID. So you don't need to worry about other tables. You just worry about the party table. But anyway, configuration you must do. That we'll see. First, let's do it on party. Then we'll see address contact. Right? Now, so since we are studying the property of a party table, so address. First, where do we have this address? Which table we have this address? Do we have this address in party table? No. This address is there in the address table. Okay, and then I have the date of birth, gender, and all these things. They are coming from the contact table. So it means that I am here. I want to configure match and merge here. Now, while I want to configure the match and merge here, I want to use this table and I want to use this table. Clear? I would like to use columns from that table. So if I want that, I need to configure something called as match path. That's nothing but joining the party with the address and contact. Joining the party, address and contact. That's nothing but the match path. Right? And observe one thing here, rule 1, rule 2, rule 3, rule 4. Here I have something called as fuzzy. Here I have fuzzy. Here I have exact rule and exact rule. Now what's the difference and what are they? See, what's a match rule? Combination of match columns. Now if you have at least one fuzzy match column in a rule, then the rule will be fuzzy. If you have at least one column as fuzzy, so here I have name as fuzzy, so rule is fuzzy. Here I have first name is fuzzy, right? So this is fuzzy. Here email ID, fax number, phone number, all of them are exact. So that's why this is an exact rule. It's not fuzzy. Clear? Right? Let's try to configure this thing in the tool. So to configure that, go here. Do not create any tables in this schema. You can do it in lab, and if you feel there are too many things in the lab, you inform me. I'll create another lab, another ORS, I mean. Okay, but don't create here. It will create diversion. So I'll remove that anyway. Okay, this is something that I moved it, but this one you take the backup and remove, because otherwise I'll remove tomorrow. Okay, so you can see match and merge setup. Then see here. So the technique is you go step by step in the sense, first properties, then path, then this, then this, then this, like that, step by step. Okay, properties, I don't want to go with properties now. because it will be completely theoretical session again. So we'll come back to properties later. So let's start with path. But normally the proper way is first properties then path. Okay. First path. Path. Do I need to configure path? That's the question. Do I need to configure path? Let's see. Uh, I am using child table columns. Am I not? See here. Contact, address, address. I'm using child table columns. If I'm using it, I must configure the path. If I'm not using it, I will not. Let's imagine that I'm using just the address. I don't need to configure contact, but I'm using both, so let's add both. Plus, then contact, let's say first address, choose the address, say OK. Then again, select, click on party and click plus. Do not click on address and plus, because if you do it on address, it will show you the child table of address. So click on party plus and then say contacts, choose contacts, OK. So basically what I'm doing in plain English is I'm joining the party table, address table, contact table. And the join will be what kind of join? Full outer, left outer, right outer, normal join. What is it? By default, this is a, see here, allow missing children's. Means if this is selected, by default, this is selected. So it means this will be a left outer join. If I remove that, that will be a normal join. It's always better that you go with the default. That's the left outer join. Okay, if you want to see this query, you can check it in the logs. In the logs, it will show you the query. It's basically a join of party address contact, simple join, left outer. Let's say that you have 4 types of addresses: main address, shipping, billing, uh, invoice, then post bus, office, residential, some 7-8 types of addresses. Now every customer will have 4-5 address, let's say. So you can't use all the addresses in the matching. If you do that, your matching will run for years. So you must select the important address and do it, right? So let's say the main address is your important address and all other addresses you don't want to use. So you can give a filter here. Plus, let's say whatever the condition you want to give, country is equal to this, that, whatever condition, you can give the where condition here. But remember, if you give a condition, now that record will never ever, it will go for matching. So be careful when you do that, right? So normally this is used, but not that much, but yes, used, because some addresses, some contacts we don't want to use in matching. So you can use that. Then I have something, I need to configure this zone. Whatever you're seeing here, that I need to replicate in this tool. Okay, first go with the first line, fuzzy match key. And the fuzzy match key is what? Address. That's my fuzzy match key. So add address. Go here, say address part 1. Right, as soon as I click on this, I can see this name, organization name, party type, status. This sounds familiar. Yes, these are the columns from the party table. Right, if I want to choose name, I can choose like this. If I want to use 2 columns, I can use this. Informatica will concatenate name and organization name, concatenate, and use it as a single column. Now let's say I don't want to use party because my fuzzy match key is address. How can I use party? Go and choose address. Okay, that's the match path. That's the reason why we configured the match path, so that we can use the child columns. If I imagine that this match path is not there, then I can't use any child columns. All what I can use is just these 4 columns in matching. Only these 4 columns I can use in matching. So that's the reason why I've configured that. Go here, address name, next, and save it. Now let's try to understand. Now let's try to understand. Question is, you see ADDR address name, that is ADDR underscore name. You know what is this? That is nothing but it's a column in the address table. It's a column in the address table, and that is nothing but, if I log in here, class 3, okay, if I see select start from C underscore ADDR, so here I go. This is what we are talking about. This is the ADDR underscore name, right? So that's what this is. Now if that is the thing, what is this? What is this? What is address part 1? And I see it's a fixed thing. So what is this? Address part 1 is nothing but, both are same only, but there is its difference. So address part 1 is address name plus logic. So address part 1 is address name plus logic. For example, now see here, address part 1, right? Let's say I will add two more things to explain what is this key type. Let's say that I will add person name, and I'm pointing it to name, and let's say organization name and pointing it to name. So you can see here that both these things are actually pointing to the same column, that is name. Sorry, both these things are pointing to the same column, that is the name column. So what is the difference between these two then and these two? Let's try to understand the difference. Let's say that I have Cisco Inc. I have two records, Cisco Inc. Right? Now person name is equal to name plus a person logic. Right? Now organization name I'm writing in short is equal to name plus organization logic. Right? So let's say this is name. This is name. Then what is person name here? What can be person name here? What, let's see, the person name is equal to, it will be the same, no change. But if you use organization name, what will happen is Informatica will identify that, okay, this is a company, this is a name of a company. I mean, both are name of the companies. And it will identify that INC, it's not the name of the company. It's something, it's just like a prefix, suffix, whatever you say for companies, just a noise, right? So Informatica before matching will remove that. So if you use organization name as the strategy, then this is what will happen. If you use person name, it won't be able to remove this ink automatically. Another example, let's say Sir Sunil, Mr. Sunil. Okay. Now if I use person name as strategy, Informatica will easily identify that this is a prefix. This is also a prefix, suffix, whatever you call it. And what it will do internally, it will use this thing in matching, and the result might be match because they are same. But if I use organization name as the strategy, it will not be able to replace this. Why it will not be able to replace? Because Mr. is the valid name in a company. You'd have seen many products starting with Mr. Many companies starting with Mr. Right? So that's allowed. So Informatica will not do any replacement here. As a result, this might result in no match. So person name means over the data, it will apply some logic. Just like you have sandwich, you have bread and sandwich, right? So bread, you take it and then you customize. So this is the bread and this is cheese sandwich, this is tomato sandwich, like that. Customization. Okay. Then I don't need to explain about what is address part 1 logic. Now this is data plus algorithm specific to address. So you know what is address. Address will contain some special characters, digits, alphabets, and of course um, you will have some, the order will also be there. First house number will be there, then street number will be there, then the whatever, depending upon country to country, the order will be there. So special pattern specific to a country. So this can identify that. So let's say that you have something called as LA Street. Now LA Street also has a different name. So let's say uh, La Street. Now La Street and LA Street both are same. Let's say that La Street and LA Street both are actually same. In if you go there, then it's same. But if you use these two logic, they cannot identify that these are same. But if you use address part 1, it can easily, because it's specialist in identifying address. So that's why we have these strategies, right? For fuzzy match key, we have only these 3 strategies. But if you go with the fuzzy match column, I have even more. I have organization name, person name, address part 1, part 2. This is the first part of the address. This is the second part of the address. Then I have some other things, that is a postal area, telephone number, ID, SSA date, and all that. What exactly is that? Postal area. You can use any postal area. That's normally the pin code. You can use that. Now telephone number, fuzzy matching for telephone number. So I explained earlier that you should not use fuzzy matching, but you can use. Why would I use it? Let's check it. So let's say I have something like this. Something like this, then I have these phone numbers. I have 5 phone numbers, and I know that this, they are same, and this is different. Why? Because you see this is 2, right? If I use exact matching here, what will happen? It won't identify, because exact matching will, the space is an issue in exact matching. So space plus the area code plus the brackets, it cannot identify exact matching. And if I use, let's say, person name here, what is the problem? If I use person name, will it throw any error? No, it won't throw any error, but what might happen is all 5 might result in a match. So that's wrong. So if I want to use fuzzy matching here, why I want to use? Because this, I want to tackle this area code, this bracket, this spaces. So if I want to use fuzzy matching, I need to tell Informatica specifically that, okay, be careful. This is a phone number. So be careful and treat this as a phone number. Do not treat it as a string. It's a special thing. It's a phone number. So how can we inform Informatica? We have to use this algorithm, telephone number. Similarly, I have ID, like let's say SSN number. So, or let's say bank account number, sometimes you will have like this bank account number, sometimes you will have like this. Variation, any variation can easily be identified. So these cases you might have to go for fuzzy matching for ID, date of birth, and these two. SSC date is nothing but date of birth or any date, right? Then I have attribute 1, 2. Attribute 1 and 2 is for generic purpose matching. Generic purpose matching means generic purpose matching means there is no, it's a generic algorithm. For example, person name, it's a special algorithm for person, organization, special algorithm for organization. Now what about this attribute 1? Attribute 1 means you have no idea if it's person, if it's organization, if it's address, you have no idea. You just have a string and you want to do the matching. You only have a string. Then you will use the attribute 1 and 2. That's when it is used, right? So let's go delete this, save it. And I have explained this. We'll again see these 4 things in the matching session when I run the matching job, of course. Then the second thing that I need to add is the name, which is a fuzzy match column. Let's do that. So this one is fuzzy, this one is exact. Fuzzy, exact. Add fuzzy, and this is person name, name, right? Then I have to add the first name. So first name, fuzzy match column. So click on this. Then this is there in the address contact table. Go to contact. Then the first name. Then let me try to choose person name. Okay. When I say okay, I'm getting a message. The physical name is already in use. It means that you can use the algorithm only once. You understand? If you have used person name once, done. You can't use it again. If you used address part 1 once, done. You can't do it again. So I can't use person name anymore, right? So what should I use? Should I choose organization name? No, it's wrong, right? Should I choose these two? Wrong. So what should I choose? I have no idea. I'll go with attribute 1. That's what is the use of attribute 1. Generic purpose matching, right? Okay. Then date of birth. All these are exact now, which is very easy. Date of birth, gender, phone number. So date of birth, choose the good contacts and date of birth. What is the difference between this and this? No difference. In case of fuzzy, yeah, difference is there. Here, no. So this is just a aliasing. So I can type like of birth, no problem. I can type anything. Okay, okay. And if I've already mentioned that if you want to use multiple columns, you can use it like this. Then I have gender, phone number. So let's add the gender, phone number plus gender. Sender, then the phone number. Email ID, fax number, postcode. Fax number. Postcode is there in address table. Postcode. And save it. That completes this match columns, creation of the match columns. Once that is done, then you move to the match rule sets. That is nothing but this area. We are trying to create this area. Okay. First thing understand is, whenever you hear something like fuzzy, you hear a word fuzzy, you will need an algorithm, because using algorithms we can do better matching. So whenever you see fuzzy, you will see a algorithm. So fuzzy person name, fuzzy attribute 1, which is also an algorithm, default algorithm, not a special one. Person name is a special one. So match rule set. Now what's a match rule set? Match rule set is a dummy thing. Dummy in the sense it's just a kind of folder. So where you are going to create your match rules. So for example, I want to create these 4 match rules. Where to create? You create a folder. Folder means nothing but that's the match rule set. So it's like a holder or the folder, what you say. It is something that will hold the match rules, group and hold the match rules. So create match let's say party. Okay. You can also give filter. For example, you can create one match rule for person and one more for organization. Okay. For person, you can give a condition that party type is equal to person, and here you can give a condition like the party type is equal to organization. So you can have multiple match rules. What I will do with multiple match rules, I will run the match job twice, right? So if I am going here, let's say if I go here, okay, I did not save it. So let's say match party and one more as match person and save it. And let's imagine that there is something called as match organization as well. If I go here, when I want to run the match job, you can see here that I can select the match set. It means that for my person, I can use the person and run my job, and for organization data, I can choose organization match rule set and run it. That's the reason why we can create multiple match rule sets. Okay, then this is the area where this area you create the match rules, which is the most important thing, the match rule. Okay, to create the match rule, my first match rule is based on name, date of birth, gender, right? So name, date of birth and gender should be same. So go here, click on plus. Now match strategy, you see fuzzy, you see exact. As per the document, what is it? It's fuzzy, right? So let it be fuzzy. Then click on this pen mark, choose the columns. So what columns? Name, that is nothing but person name, date of birth, gender. So choose person name, date of birth, gender. Click OK. Okay. Now let me try to say OK. It's throwing an error. Okay. The following match column needs to be present in the rule for the purpose. So it is talking about this thing. It means that you can see it's a drop box, like a list of value. So I must choose one list from here, and that must be a proper thing. So first of all, what is this? What is this match purpose? What is this match purpose? This is again algorithm. So we have seen algorithm earlier in match columns. We have seen algorithms, person name, organization name, address part 1, part 2. We have seen algorithms. Now again we are seeing algorithms. Why is there like unnecessary number of algorithms? Right? Let's try to understand. See, this algorithm, I mean that algorithm was on a match column. Clear? In here, in this area, the algorithm was based on a match column. But here the algorithm is based on match rule. What is the difference between match column, match rule? A match rule is a group of match columns. So here the algorithm, it's based on not single match column but multiple match columns, and this will influence the matching. So I have something called as see here, person name. I'll show you from the documentation, it will be more clearer. Configuration guide. Let me search for wide household. Okay, page number 458. Right, so first, this is first algorithm. In this first algorithm, that's called as the person name. This is not exactly same as the person name that we have seen earlier, but similar. That person name what we have seen earlier was for a match column. Now this one is for a match rule. So identifying a person by name. So here you see the person name column is mandatory, fuzzy match column is mandatory, and these things are optional. Address part 1, part 2, all these things are optional, and this person name was mandatory. But if I go here, individual. So what is the difference between a person and individual? Person, individual, what is the difference? If you study the word individual, means you say, right, okay, he is an individual. So he's an individual person, means he has his own identity. So a human being with an identity, that's called as individual. So here you see that person name is mandatory, ID becomes mandatory here, plus date of birth. So ID and date of birth is mandatory here, individual. Okay, now here resident. In resident means what? Residing, a person, a human being residing somewhere. So here the person name is important. This is also mandatory, right? Now I have household where there is a slight variation again. Then I have family name where telephone number is mandatory here, right? Then I have wide household, slight variation. Then address, which is similar to that of the uh, address part 1. You can see address is mandatory, name is not mandatory here. Organization for company names, division, this is also for company names. Then contact for contact, corporate entity, and this is for generic purpose matching. So you will see many algorithms. These are all algorithms. Now they will differ on, like, see, every algorithm has its own style. For example, if you want to put more weightage on addresses, why? Because your addresses are perfect, so you can go with resident or address. And if your names are perfect, you can go with person name, individual. So should I go with person name or individual? That depends. Normally 90% of the cases you will use this one, person name. Why? Because to use person name only this is mandatory. But individual normally it's never used. Very rarely used. Why? Because many things are mandatory here. So you will see in a real-time project normally even though there are 10-12 algorithms, you will see that person name is the thing that will be widely used. Okay, but anyway, these algorithms are based on different combination. Somewhere something is mandatory, somewhere something is not. Okay, we'll choose the person name. Say okay. Now you can see one rule is created, but you can see this is no, and the color is yellow, whereas the color for auto is blue. So you see this auto is no. It means this is a manual rule, and as per the document we need to create a auto rule. How to do that? Go here, click on this. This changes to no. Yes. Yes means now this is a auto rule, not manual anymore. Auto rule. Right? Save that. Now I have the second rule, date of birth, gender, first name. So second one, date of birth, gender, first name is nothing but my attribute one. Choose it. Now can I use person name? Let's try. I can't use person name because to use person name column should be there. So now I'll go for fields. This is generic matching. Say okay. Then the third one, that's email ID, fax number, phone number. So this is exact. You can see that here. Exact. Right? So exact, email ID, fax number, phone number. Email ID, fax number, phone number. Okay. Okay. Then the fourth one, postcode, gender, phone number. So exact, postcode, gender, phone number. Okay. First one is exact, remain all, sorry, first one is auto, remaining all are manual. By default it's manual, so no need to change anything. And then save it. Okay, let's explore some properties here. So you can see here there is something called as a match level. Match level is typical, conservative, loose. In any interview they'll ask you what is a match level. Match level means the percentage matching. For example, let's say that, okay, let's consider these two things. Now Informatica internally will calculate a score. So the score probably for this one will be somewhere around 95. It means 9.95, 0.95, or you can say it's 95 percentage match. Right? So first it will match two records and then it will calculate the score. Okay, then it will check your option. If it is typical, typical means 80. 80 means 80 percentage. If it is 80 percentage match, then the result will be match. If it is 80 percentage match, the result will be match. Conservative means 90 percentage match. Loose means 70 percentage match. So if 70 percentage of things match, declare it as a match. That's what this match level means. So it means that if I make it loose, I'll get unnecessary matches. If I make it conservative, I'll get less matches. Right? Now let's say I want, so I told you, right, score 70 means typical, 80, 70 means loose, 80 means typical, 90 means conservative. Okay, now let's say I want 85 score. How much? 85. If I want 85, choose typical and give 5 here. So this will add 80 plus 5. That's 85. 80 plus 5. Okay, and if you want 75, you can give minus 5 here. So that's what is the accept limit adjustment. This is also a common question. Okay, so I'll give 0. Let's every time you don't need to use it. If you feel that you need to change slightly, you can change that, right? And these options, like what is a match subtype? Let's say on gender I'll select match subtype, right? So what will happen now is, let's say that there is a guy called as Amit and there is another person called as Amit. Now let's say that here the gender of Amit is male. Let's say here it is female. Let's assume just. Okay, now I'm going here and selecting the match subtype. I'm enabling match subtype. So you know what will happen? This Amit will never be matched with this Amit. Why? Because the group is different. They are in different groups. It means that males will be matched only with males. Female will be matched only with females. Male with female? No, not possible. So if you want to use male with female, then you have to use this option, non-equal matching. That is the reverse of match subtype. So here male will be matched with female and male with male, no. Male with male, no match, right? So that's what match subtype is and non-equal matching is. Then you can have something called as null matching. So by default, null never matches a null. Null never matches a null. It means that, let's say your date of birth for one guy is null and for another guy date of birth is null. The result will be no match. But let's say if you want to cross that, let's say null matches null, then let's say if the date of birth of one guy is null, another one is null, the result will be a match. That's what this null matching means. Segment matching is nothing but it's slight enhancement, or you can say it's slightly. If you don't use this, you can use it. Segment matching, it's an enhancement to the match subtype only, but you will get confused because actually this is slightly confusing only. So but just as of now, understand that segment matching is an enhancement, or you can say it's like the match subtype only, with it will create more groups. I'll tell you later, because if I mix things you will not understand, right? And this, all these configurations can only be done for the exact match columns. You can't do it for person name. Can I do this? No. So date of birth, yeah, because that's the exact match column. So I can do this for exact match columns only, not fuzzy. Okay, say okay, save it. Okay, then I have something called as primary key match rules. Primary key match rules is a hypothetical concept. Moreover, the reason is we will not get this kind of scenario, we will not use it. Okay, what this means actually is, let's say I have CKR, I have MLO. Okay, I have a record 101 Amit and I have a record 101 Amit Singh. Okay, so you know this, that normally the primary key of a particular team or a particular source system will be will they will not share it with anyone. Okay, they'll use it only for their team. But let's say that here the primary key is shared in the sense both these source teams are they are using the same primary key. Okay, now if that is the case, then How do I find out if these two records are match or not? Do I need to do fuzzy matching on Amit and Amit Singh? That's not necessary. Why? Because I know that if this is equal to this, then we are talking about the same customer. So why would I waste time in doing fuzzy match key, fuzzy match column, exact match column? Why that headache? So in these cases, you can just, if the primary key is shared, then you can use the primary key match rules. But normally you know that primary keys will never be shared. So moreover, this is like an option that will never be used. But if you want to use it, plus select the two source systems, say OK. So now these two source systems, they will never go through this match rule set and all those things. Directly match merge will happen for them, right? And for them, there will be a separate job. For this, there is a job called as match job. But for this primary key match rules, let's say if I enable it, you will see a new job will be created here. That's a key match job. See here, key match job. Okay, so if I go and delete that and save it, you will see that that job will be gone. Just observe this. Gone. There's no job here. Okay, now match records from two sources that use same primary key. That's what is this primary key match rules. Then we have match key distribution. This I'll come to this later, because this is a graph on the strp table. We don't have data in the strp table as of now. Once we run it, then I'll come to here. Then merge settings, which is also important. So here we have three options: immutable row ID object, distinct system, unmerged child. First, let's study the distinct system. Distinct system means, let's say if I mark CKR as distinct, I have marked, let's say, CKR as distinct, and let's say save it. Okay, let's say from CKR I'm getting this records. I'm getting duplicate in CKR. You know what will happen? Informatica will never match this record with this record, even though there are duplicates. Even though these are duplicates, Informatica will never match Amit with Amit. Why? Because you are, by choosing this option, you're telling Informatica that your CKR is distinct. Now, since you're telling Informatica that CKR is distinct, why would Informatica do match? It won't. So if you choose this, matching will never happen in the source system. It doesn't mean that, let's say there is a record called as MLO. Here I have 109 and here I have Amit. Now, will this happen? Will this record try to match with this? Yes. Across it will happen. But in the same source system, no, because it is distinct. Right? That's what the distinct means. Now let's say if I remove this, save it. Now we have something called as immutable row ID object. See, immutable row ID object is equal to distinct plus something extra. So you understand, immutable row ID object, by default, if you choose something as immutable row ID object, it will become distinct. How is that? Let me make SFS, let me go and choose SFS as immutable. You will see that Informatica will automatically make this as distinct. See here, right? So it's clear. Now what is this extra? This extra means normally when you load a record, what will happen? What will be the consolidation indicator status? 4. Then it will become 3, then 2, then 1. That's what happens normally. But for immutable row ID object, it directly becomes 1. it will not go through the 4 3 2 1 cycle, directly becomes 1. It means that immutable row ID will skip the match and merge. They will not go through the match and merge process. They were like VIP, so directly they'll be accepted as unique customers. That is the concept. Right? Now when to use it, for which source system? You should use it for lookup, because lookup normally will come from only one source system, so you can always accept them as unique. Or this can also be used for Duns and Bradstreet. So D and B, for Duns and Bradstreet also you can use it, right? Then the last option, unmerge child when parent unmerges. This option is not relevant, no, doesn't make any sense for the parent table. But if I go to the child table here, see here, for child table this is, yeah, this is used. What this means is, if you select this option, then when you unmerge the parent, when you unmerge the parent, the child will also be unmerged. So anyway, this live demo I'll show you later. When I unmerge the parent, I'll show you how the child is unmerged. But as of now, just understand theoretically. Right? So all these things are done except the properties, which is also very important, especially this fuzzy, this match fuzzy population file, and all these properties are important. Right? So tomorrow we'll go through these properties, then we'll proceed. Okay? If you have any doubts, you can ask.
So, Sunil, so then basically we need to concentrate on the two types of matching, right? Either it's with fuzzy or exact.
Right.
We don't need to give much concentration on exact. And when it comes to fuzzy, then there are a lot of predefined algorithms available, like name and organization and person or over there. It is written by Informatica Corporation itself, right?
Right.
Is there something we can able to create our own algorithm and we can implement it into our tool in case I
Yeah.
want to do my own
Normally,
algorithm instead of
yeah.
Informatica?
Normally, no. Using MDM license you cannot do, but Informatica provides a
Oh,
separate software that is called as IIR. So if you check it, that is
mm,
Informatica Identity Resolution. So
okay.
IIR, Informatica Identity Resolution. So you have to install and purchase this software. So using this software, yeah, using this software, you can do it. I'll show you this. For example, see here. Here you can change the algorithms. So this would look something like this. Okay, this is a separate tool again. So here you can go and you can customize your things, you can create your new things, you can play around all the matching things here. So you can insert special patterns, frequencies. So this is anyway, it is much more complicated. Complicated in the sense, you should have an understanding of how the matching engine works if you want to do that.
Yeah, yeah, correct. Mm.
So yeah, this can be done, but normally no one will do it like that. But yeah, can be done. It's not like
Fine.
it's no one uses it. Some company they have custom requirements, so they'll go for it.
Okay. So how about
See
this?
here,
Since the algorithm
this
returns for
is,
only name and organization name, right? In the pre-existing, but in case if you want to do the match concept for product,
yeah,
if
for
this is what
product,
customer
if
exactly
you
it's
want to
matching
do,
for product.
correct. For product, if you want to do, still you would have to use only that. For example, in ORS sample, already you have a product. You see it is based on the address. The logic is based on the address part one, because address part one and product names are similar only. Okay, so if you go and check products, then the match merge setup, just check this address part one, and it's pointing to name. Name is the product name.
So that algorithm satisfies with both the data model,
Yeah, yeah,
product and customers.
right. It will,
It looks like it's a limitation, right, Sunil? Because we cannot extend it more because of it's only product or customer. Then what are the other data domain we can utilize it actually? In case if
product,
I'm having a
customer,
automobile, automobile or
automobile is nothing
travel.
but it will go
Okay.
under product only, and
Mm-hmm.
like it's a what is it, division of product only, and you might have employee. In case of employee, again address or person name will come into picture, and you might have vendor. In case of vendor, either the name or address, normally the name will come into picture.
Correct.
So you will see in most of the MDMs it is sufficient, this is enough, but yes, this is a limitation. If you're asking technically, yes, that's a limitation. So maybe Informatica will put one or two more algorithms there, but intentionally they have put only three algorithms here intentionally, because if they want, they could have included let's say address part 2 or telephone number and all that, but intentionally they have not done it from performance point of view and all that. So they are intelligent enough, so it's not like because of their technical limitations they have limited it to three. They could have easily provided more, but because of some performance reasons they are restricting it to three.
Okay.
Okay.
And the last question is, you were saying, right, the match rule, just I was thinking the match rule will happen from between the source record and the golden record, which is already available.
Right.
But someone is mentioning that the match rules also happen within the source system itself. You mean to say that while retrieving the data from the source, for example, two
No,
different
no,
sources, I'm
see
getting
here.
data from the customer
First try
record.
to understand first what will happen. First, when we are talking about matching, data is already loaded into base object, correct? Now once data is loaded into the base object, let's say in our case I have Amit, I have let's say in CKR I'm getting two Amits, so Amit and Amit K. So Informatica will match this record with this record to see if it's a duplicate. That's what I said when I said 4 with 4.
Mhm. So
Okay.
matching and it's happening within the source system itself.
Within will
My
happen,
CKR.
plus across also will
Mm,
happen.
okay.
See, first of all, try to understand source system does not make any sense because we are in the base object now. You understand? So a base object data is not related to any source anymore. When we are talking about cross reference, we are talking about source. So when we are talking about matching happens on the base object, not on the cross reference. So when we are in the base object, I have one customer Amit, I have another customer Amit K. So it's not the source anymore. It is 4 with 4 and 4 with 1 consolidation indicator.
Okay. Okay. I got you.
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay. Thanks guys. Right. Bye.